What's up guys, this is Saiyan here coming at you with another Transformers TCG deck profile. Haven't done one of these for quite a while, but I've recently been playing a lot. I've been building a lot of decks, and I got inspired by Wassy Plays' old video where he talks about Transformers TCG representative, I believe, bringing an Ultra Magnus Jetfire deck to one of the UK championships, and just basically kind of looking at what can be made with this particular pairing. Now, first and foremost, this deck is really cool because if you play with Ultra Magnus, you get to start the game with Magnus's armor, which is a 2-star card. We literally didn't see any other 2-star cards until set 5. It's really powerful. Only put an Autobot, so it kind of makes sense to play with Jetfire, but I'll get to Jetfire in a second. If the upgraded character would take non-attack damage, it takes that much damage -1, is +2 attack, +2 defense, making Ultra Magnus an absolute powerhouse. You start with a 7 attack, 17 health, 3 defense truck. Leader ranged. And Jetfire, and why the pairing is so enticing is indeed Jetfire, when you flip to his bot mode, put an armor and utility from your scrap pile onto this character. So this basically allows us to not lose the armor due to the many various different upgrade removals that are found in the game. So realistically, when we start a game, Ultra Magnus starts with the armor on, and then first turn we will go flip into Major Ultra Magnus, and in the bot mode, when this attacks and you flip at least 2 orange and 2 blue, do 1 damage to each character, minus whoever of course is wearing the armor, which of course in the very first turn hopefully will be Major Ultra Magnus. So you're swinging with Ultra Magnus, and you can technically keep Jetfire in the alt mode until you absolutely need to bring back the armor from your scrap pile. And Jetfire will be operating with Bold 1, which is of course fantastic. And what you also should probably do is flip Ultra Magnus so he activates his Brave, which means your opponent will have to go into Ultra Magnus in most circumstances, and they can only really rely on immediate direct damage to be able to harm Jetfire, to be able to deal damage to Jetfire. So realistically, Magnus is going to be the bullet sponge, and we are hoping to just get in a bunch of extra damage by activating that effect on Ultra Magnus bot mode. Let's see how we're going to do that then. So we'll start with the additional upgrades. I have balanced the deck out to the best of my abilities at this point in time and try to get an equal amount of orange and blue pips into the deck. And one card that certainly works really well in this context is the Matrix of Leadership. It can go on either of your Autobots, but ideally you want this on Ultra Magnus. If it is on an Autobot leader, then each of your other characters gets +1 attack and Pierce 1. So that's of course to make Jetfire +1 attack and Pierce 1. When it comes to the double Pip cards, we're running 3 copies of Improvised Shield and 3 copies of Handheld Blaster. Now, because this is a hybrid Pip, orange and blue Pip deck, actually both of these cards are attachable, which is quite rare in this game. Normally they are ran just for their double icons, but if you end up flipping just one of each, you're immediately activating that effect there, which is of course fantastic. So yeah, the bold one is good here, the tough one is also good here. They can both be useful. Nevertheless, it's still probably good if they are kept in the deck, just allowing us to flip double icons more often than usual. To ensure that we have enough cards in our hands and also that we have white pips, which of course will allow us to increase our chances of flipping double blue, double orange when we swing with Magnus, we have 3 copies of Databank. I do like the, is it the set, yeah, the set 4 version of basically Databank, but it's got a green icon instead of white. It does exactly the same thing. I do like this a little bit more because of that white icon just really working for us in this deck. Then we have 2 backup beams, which are blue icons, but they do have green as well, so we can pick it up. Predominantly put it on Ultra Magnus, immediately give him Bolt 2. That's fantastic. And of course, to balance that out, we do have a Sparring Gear, which gives us Tough 2. Again, it's an orange with a green icon, but we also have an Enforcement Baton, which is also an orange with a green icon, and this will just allow us to scrap an enemy weapon. We also have a Noble's Blaster, which of course works well on either of these guys. If we do go up against a Decepticon kind of deck, or just a deck that's splashing a Decepticon character, it will be of course useful to get that Pierce 2. And again, to balance that blue out, we do have 1 copy of Cooling Vents as well. That's predominantly in there to basically be able to bring it back to Jetfire. If we can bring it back to Jetfire a couple of times, each time healing 1 of him, or maybe even just putting it on Ultra Magnus if Ultra Magnus doesn't have the armor and vice versa, that's just a little bit of a heal that we have access to in the deck. So that's it for the upgrades, and the eagle-eyed viewers may have picked up that we are still missing 2 stars from the deck. Indeed, well, not exactly 2 stars, but to be completely honest, because we are running two of our Autobots. I couldn't get my hands on an actual copy, but imagine that we are running a Heroic Spotlight. If our team only consists of Autobots, then we can run up to 2 extra stars of blue cards. And because of Heroic Spotlight, we can run 2 copies of Fuel Cache. Fuel Cache works really well in this deck. It also gives us a white icon as much as it gives us a chance to flip both a blue and an orange icon, which of course is what we're looking for with Ultra Magnus. And it's a playable card. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. If they include at least a white, an orange, and a blue pip, put them all into your hand, otherwise scrap them. It's a bit of a gamble. But it is mostly in for the pips and the utility we get from the pips. And I mean, you can technically flip a Fuel Cache with another Fuel Cache, so that's not a bad thing. That, yeah, bear in mind, guys, that we are running a Heroic Spotlight stratagem in this deck as well. And of course, we are looking at running 3 copies of Rollout, predominantly for that double color pip there, 1 orange, 1 blue. Again, that gives us a total of 9 orange and blue cards. Of course, 1 of them is Magnus's armor, 3 are the Matrix of Leadership, and you got the other 5 here. So if you can't flip your double orange and double blues in a consecutive manner, then you can still hopefully rely on these cards to get to that particular effect that we want to maximize here with Major Ultra Magnus. As for the rest of the actions, Bold obviously significantly increases our chances in flipping the right required pips, so we got 3 copies of Supercharge. I've also included 3 copies of Marksmanship because both our characters are ranged, and Marksmanship is a fantastic card. We are already dealing a lot of direct damage with Magnus, so hopefully we can finish off maybe a character in a couple of games with Marksmanship just being at the ready when we need it. In terms of card well, I wouldn't say card advantage, wouldn't say card draw, but just kind of spinning the deck. We had 3 copies of Incoming Transmission. Draw 2 cards, put a top card of your put a card from your hand on top of your deck. This can be great to, of course, again, place a particular pip on top of the deck. And of course, again, 3 battlefield reports, so 3 orange and the 3 blue pip counterpart for it. Battlefield report does exactly the same, but of course it's secret action, so you get to do it when you're defending. Incoming transmission is great when you're attacking, but they do serve pretty much the same purpose. And then finally we have 1 escape route. Again, that that green pip is important there. We can get it into our hands, but it's a white pip, which of course is very important too. Quartermaster, just to be able to throw the armor from Jetfire back onto Ultra Magnus in case we have to fish it back from the scrap pile with Jetfire. And finally we have 1 copy of Vaporize and 1 copy of Ramming Speed. They do the same. Scrap an enemy upgrade. Again, we're just keeping that pip balance on the go. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this little deck profile here, looking at this quite interesting duo of Jetfire and Ultra Magnus, both massive warriors, 10 stars and 12 stars, and of course a lot of extra stars in play as well. So yeah, up until next time guys, please remember to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't yet, share it with a friend, and I'll see you at the next video. Peace.